When most Clone Wars fans think of the heroes of the Clone Army, they usually think of men like Rex, Fives, and Echo, ground soldiers that stood out from the pack. But few consider an equally heroic category of clones, clone gunship pilots. The likes of Lieutenant Hawk were among the most important members of the entire Grand Army of the Republic, but they rarely get any credit for it. In this video, we'll finally be giving them their due. The pilots of LAAT gunships were selected for the role early on in their artificially accelerated lives, usually for quick reflexes and especially sharp eyesight. While their clone brothers were training in simulated ground combat situations, pilots in training were instead thrown behind the joysticks of a simulated gunship and made to rehearse a variety of standard landing strategies repeatedly, so as to prepare them as much as possible for their jobs. Even more so than for regular clones, training was important for gunship pilots. If the average clone trooper made a mistake in the heat of combat, it would cost them his life. If a gunship pilot made a mistake, however, it would cost them his life, the lives of his co-pilot and gunners, and the lives of up to 30 other beings in the gunship's troop hold. LAAT pilots could not afford to make mistakes, and they received particularly intensive training to help prevent them from doing so. One of the biggest testaments to the skill of LAAT pilots is the sheer amount of weaponry on the craft they had to coordinate. Each LAAT gunship was armed with 2 chin-mounted laser cannons, a tail laser cannon, 2 wingtip mounted beam weapons, 2 beam turrets, 2 large mass driver launchers, and 2 racks of air-to-air missiles. While the beam turrets were manned by independent gunners and the tail cannons were likely operated by computers, the chin cannons, wingtip beam weapons, mass drivers, and air-to-air missiles were all operated by the pilot and co-pilot of the craft. It takes incredible skill to manage that many weapons while flying a gunship and ensuring the safety of those in the troop hold, especially in particularly chaotic combat zones. The most obvious and most notable capability of the LAAT is its ability to carry up to 30 soldiers into the thick of combat rapidly and effectively. This is yet another testament to the importance of the pilots, since LAAT gunships were the Republic's primary method of rapid deployment. The most obvious and notable capability of the LAAT is its ability to carry up to 30 soldiers into the thick of combat rapidly and effectively. This is yet another testament to the importance of the pilots. Since LAAT gunships were the Republic's primary method of rapid deployment, pilots had to be particularly skilled to be able to get their charges to the ground safely while keeping them apprised of the situation outside the armored troop holds of the ships. All of these go without mentioning the high speeds at which gunship pilots were usually forced to operate. One of the advantages the LAAT had over more durable separatist troop transports was speed. While C-997 landing craft and hard cell class transport had to land for extended periods on the battlefield to deploy troops, gunships could swoop in and then fly off, allowing for deployment speeds that the Confederacy could only dream of for the first half of the war, until they developed the HMP droid gunship as a counter. Gunship pilots also had to learn how to operate in a variety of conditions, from Geonosian sandstorms to auto-plutonium blizzards to Umbaran fog. This, combined with all of their other attributes, made LAAT pilots true military renaissance men, prepared for almost everything and skilled in a wide spectrum of tasks. This becomes even more impressive when you consider the massive variety of roles in which the LAAT gunship served. The LAAT gunship itself was crucial to the Grand Army of the Republic due to its usefulness in a wide variety of mission profiles. Each gunship could serve as air support, a troop transport, a boarding craft, a command vessel, and even a rapid recovery vehicle. LAATs well and truly formed the backbone of the Grand Army of the Republic, especially in the war's opening stages, and were utilized in nearly every standard Republic battle strategy. In nearly all full-scale battles in the Clone Wars, LAAT gunships were used to deploy clone troopers to their positions, something that larger, slower troop transports often would have been incapable of doing so effectively. While it took plenty of time for the Republic assault ships to manually unload all 16,000 of their clone passengers directly onto the battlefield, fleets of gunships could deploy this complement much faster without the assault ships even having to consider landing. Each assault ship came with enough gunships to carry around 2,000 soldiers to the surface per wave. Once the gunship reached the battlefield, all 2,000 of these soldiers could be deployed in under a minute, after which the gunships could fly right back to the assault ship and pick up another wave. Depending on the circumstances, this means that the gunships could deploy the full complement of an assault ship in under an hour, which is much less time than it would otherwise take. But that's not all the LAAT was useful for. Gunships could be used to retrieve wounded or retreating clones as well, getting them to safety as rapidly as they deployed them. Each gunship contained an IM-6 medical droid and a comprehensive medical kit in the forward cabin, and they were crucial to the Republic's triage process. Gunships were also useful for the much more dubious task of coordinating retreats, as they could often allow troopers to escape situations that by all means should have meant death. The skill of the gunship pilots and the speeds of their craft likely saved thousands of clone lives over the course of the Clone Wars. Another role that the LAAT often filled was that of mobile command centers. In several battles, most notably the Battle of Argonar, Jedi generals used gunships as an easy way to get a bird's eye tactical view of the battle, so as to better coordinate troops. This is yet another testament to the skill of the gunship pilots, as the Jedi were confident enough in the pilots of their craft that they felt comfortable to exposing themselves to enemy fire aboard them, trusting that the pilots would be able to avoid any threats to the craft. As anyone who's played the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 knows, LAAT gunships also had uses in space. Special atmospherically sealed LAAT units were often used as boarding craft, transporting troops directly into the hangars of CIS capital ships. Once again, this is a testament to the skill of gunship pilots, as the LAAT was much slower than most starfighter units, especially the Confederacy's Vulture droids and Tri-Fighters. With that all said, it's safe to say that gunship pilots were indeed heroes of the Republic. At the very least, they were exceptionally important and they deserve more recognition than they usually get. So next time you're watching Star Wars The Clone Wars, rip to it on Netflix, try to think of the brave pilots flying those gunships into battle and keep in mind how demanding their job often was. And so that's our take on the clone gunship pilots of the Grand Army of the Republic, and as per usual, I want to know what you think. Had you considered this before, or does this video shed a new light and new perspective on the GAR for you? Feel free to post your thoughts in the comments section below, and if you want to become a gunship pilot, then make sure you check out our Geetsly's Clone Wars roleplay, where you can play as any clone to your heart's content. We also have our Imperial roleplay and our Halo roleplay, as well as our Roblox roleplay for you all to join. And if you do want to help support the channel more, make sure you check out the Patreon. All those links are in the description below. Anyways guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.